So here's the feeling. It is just, we get up here, it's rev the motorcycle. I'm going to talk about this and explain this in a lot of detail. So we rev the motorcycle. I'm going to show you what that does to your club face, how it shallows that angle in the downswing. Well, we rev the motorcycle, and then all we do is skip the rock, rev the motorcycle, skip the rock, and then we whip it. And when we whip it this way. It's kind of a, I show this video of Tiger making his finish back in the heyday where he's finishing with this. He's hitting a draw and his hands come out and they look like they're like, almost like this, right? So, and that's that feeling that most players need. When you start to swing that path more from the inside on the downswing, instead of over the top like so many players do, you're going to need that whip. You're going to need that toe of the club whipping past the heel of the club, but the toe of the club whips this way, right? It's not a whip like this. It's a whip like that, which is a totally different move. So I'm going to explain this all in detail here, and I hit record and I'm just going to go. There are going to be no cuts, there are going to be no edits. If you don't want to know the secret to golf, hit stop right now because I'm going to be talking for 15 minutes. If you're one of those people who comes on here and says too much talk and all that kind of stuff, look, I'm sharing with you what I've learned over the last 30 years. I'm not holding back at all. And this is stuff that is going to unlock the secret. If you ever wondered, about this forward shaft lead, so you got these schools of thought, right? Which are, you've got to hold these angles. Got to hold the angle, right? Then there's a whole nother group that's saying you just got to start to release it as early as you can from the top and whip it, right? So they're almost teaching. So it's like, what am I supposed to do here? Am I supposed to be holding the angles, or am I supposed to be whipping it and flipping it? So if you have that question, this is going to answer it. If you don't know me, I'm Craig Jones, and I've taught golf for 30 years. I own my own 5 golf tech learning centers, but my whole story is that I used to suck at golf, okay? And that might be kind of a weird way to introduce myself here, but it is the key to why I can help so many players, because the changes that I've made in my own swing are the changes that you need to make in yours. So when I was a 15 handicap slicer, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't some kid or something. I was in my mid-20s. I was a bus driver at Keystone Ski Resort. There weren't too many people to drive around the resort in the summer, so I ended up mowing greens at the Keystone Ranch golf course. That's when I really got obsessed with golf. And eventually, I pretty quickly learned I want to make a career of this. One little problem, I sucked at golf, right? So I went on this long quest. I moved to Phoenix. I got this old school coach. I took 70 lessons from him over a couple of years. His name was Ed Ekus. And what Ed taught me was, he taught me about face and he taught me about path. Okay, so he taught me that strong grip, or that closed face grip, that if you watch any of my videos, I talk about this all the time. And it's when you move this left hand over to the right for a right-handed player, helps that toe of the club past the heel of the club. Okay, that is release. That's the whipping of the toe past the heel when you're swinging that path from the inside instead of over the top like almost everybody is. You need that more closed face grip to get the whip, to get the toe of the club to pass the heel of the club. But how do you get that whip without flipping? And that's what I'm going to show you here today. This is going to make so much sense, and it's going to be a complete game changer in the way you think about not only how the swing works, but how you work on it. Okay, so that's my whole story, as I went from a 15 to a 6 with Ed teaching me how to swing from the inside and release the toe of the club past the heel of the club. I went from a 15 down to a 6 handicap. Then I passed my playing ability test. I got hired by Golf Tech as a coach. And so then when I got to Golf Tech, this was another one of these eye-opening moments. We're going back to 2001 here. And this was when I was like, I saw my swing for the first time, because Ed and I didn't really use video. And I got on video, and all of a sudden I realized Ed had been teaching me closed face grip, swing from the inside, whip the toe past the heel. And I made a ton of progress with my game that way. But when I got to Golf Tech, what I found out was I saw my swing, started to see my swing on video a lot for the first time. And the first thing I saw was this. I was in this position right here at impact, right? So you can get pretty good still flipping at it, you know? I was down to a 6 handicap at this point. But as soon as I went to work at Golf Tech, that's when I was like, okay, I got to fix that flip. Because, you know, I was obsessed with having the perfect golf swing and all that kind of stuff like so many players are. I've since learned kind of the folly of that whole line of thought. there's no being perfect in this game. But so I started to then work on holding the angle. And I got to where I could do it. So I would come into impact and I'd be holding the angle, but I swear it almost felt like I was going to break my wrist over here because I didn't know what to do once I could get to holding the angle and hitting down, forward shaft lean, all those things that I was trying to achieve, or all those things that the holding the angle crowd teach, right? I was getting that, but I couldn't whip it. I couldn't release the club. So I couldn't hardly play golf literally for like 9 months, you know, which as a golf coach who can't hardly play golf, it was a tough time. But I eventually got through it and I came out on the other side, a 1 handicap at the best that I ever got to. Now I'm like a 3 or whatever. So that was, it was worth it to go through it. But now I realized that it was just so much more long and painful than it needed to be. So that's my mission now, is to help the players who are like I was, you know, high handicap, slicer, weak shots, all of that kind of stuff. That's my goal, is to help you learn this stuff without having to go through all of the pain that I had to go through of doing it the wrong way and working on the wrong things. You can do it a lot faster and you don't have to screw yourself all up like I did when I worked on this. So let's just talk about this. It's going to be really simple when I lay this all out right here. The first thing is that there's this position at the top of the swing that you have to get into, okay? So these people who are teaching that you can whip and release it from the top of the swing, I believe that that is true, but it's only true if you're starting from a certain position at the top of the swing. If you're starting from the position that most players are in at the top of the swing, which is this, so most players are 2 cupped with this lead wrist. They're in this toe down open position with the club face. Their hands are too far out in front of them instead of a little bit more behind them right here. Okay, so all those things combined. You're cupped, open, hands out in front. What does it mean? It means over the top, open, swinging that path, left of target through impact. Then what does it mean? Well, since you're swinging left through impact with your path, now you've got to hold that club face open. So now you got this move, right? And that's what? 85% of people, you know, that's the move, right? It's this to this, right? So then you got the crowd of coaches who are saying, oh, well, all you got to do is whip it. Okay, well, if I'm starting from here and I try to whip it, like, how's that going to work, right? It's never going to work. So then you have the other crowd that are saying that you have to hold that angle as you're coming down into impact. Well, if you start trying to hold angles, you're going to do what I did. And you're not going to be able to get any whip or release. And we know that the power and the speed comes from the whip and the release, right? So if I'm sitting here trying to hold the angle and I'm doing this and I'm like, that's how I felt when I was working on holding the angle. I felt like I was like trying to get this so much. It was like, no, there's no speed, there's no power, there's nothing there. And you might be able to hit a few decent iron shots every once in a while, compressing the ball that way, but you're really going to struggle with your driver because you need that whip more than anything with driver. So now what I discovered over time is that what you really need is you need this rev in the motorcycle position at the top of the swing Then you can whip it. And you can get forward shaft lean. You can get compression at impact. And you can go ahead and whip it. You're not going to get that flippy position. And it all starts with this position at the top of the swing. And here's what it is. So you go to the top of the swing. So revving a motorcycle, right? If you're driving a motorcycle, you're revving a motorcycle here, right? So I'm revving a motorcycle. All I'm going to do right here is I'm going to set up to the ball. And I like these little cheat moves. I got to talk about that real quick here. I'm not going to belabor it, but I will link to, maybe I can put a link somewhere right here if you want to go check out this video, or I'll put it down in the description or something. But this one has like 300,000 views, and these are the driver cheat moves. And I do the exact same thing with irons, just a little bit less. But what they are is that closed face grip where we move this hand over to the right for a right-handed player. Helps that club face want to turn over. You're going to need that club face turning over when these next changes we make, get your club path coming from the inside on the downswing. So that is that first cheat move right there. The other little cheat move here is to drop this back foot back a little bit. And then we want to play that ball position, maybe just even a little bit back of center, because when you drop this back foot back a little bit here, it has the effect of moving the center, the bottom of your swing arc back a little bit. So you want to err on the side of playing the ball back in your stance. So those are the three little cheat moves. Strong grip, close the stance, play the ball back, just that little bit with irons. So that's the first thing that we do. And then the next piece here, so now I've got those. Let's say I've got that closed face grip. I've got that really slightly closed stance. I got that ball back. Now as I go to the top of the swing, I want to feel my hands low and behind me, and I'm not trying to make a big backswing right here. We're going to do this from a static position right here. And you can grab a club and feel this right now wherever you are, if you're in your living room or whatever. So we take this trail hand right here. This is where we're revving the motorcycle, right? And we're going to go. If I rev the motorcycle with that, look what that does. It adds that little bit more hinge, but look what it does to the club face. Closes that club face, right? And look what it does to the shaft angle. It makes the shaft angle flatter, right? More closed club face, flatter shaft angle makes it easier to shallow that club on the downswing, swing it from in to out, right? So now from here, I can go ahead and whip it. Now I can actually go, okay, I'm here. Now I call this the skip the rock feeling, right? If you were going to skip a stone on water, you'd make this move. So we got rev it, right? We're going to rev skip. We're going to rev it. We're going to go right back here. Hands a little bit behind, little half backswing. We're going to rev it. That's going to close our face a little bit, shallow that angle even a little bit more. Now we're going to skip it. So we're going to go, okay, now I'm skipping the rock here, right? So I've revved and skipped. Now I'm doing the exact opposite of what I was talking about before, right? Out here I'm cupped, I'm steep, I'm open, I'm over the top. Now we're hands deeper behind, we've revved, we're closed, more closed, and we're shallower right here. So already in that position where we're ready to skip, right? We're ready to now skip. Then we've just got to whip, like what I was talking about with this thing right here, right? And I love this. This is some cheap thing I got off Temu one day. I saw this, and the only thing I've ever ordered in my life off of Temu. I don't know why I felt compelled to, but I kind of like this thing, and it gives you that feeling, right? So I'm revved, skip, whip, where I'm releasing more around right here, right? Rev, skip, and whip. And now when you start hitting balls with this, you're just, got my cheat moves, close face grip, a little bit of a close stance, a little bit of a back ball position. Now I got hands, rev, skip, and whip. And that move right there, that is that is going to fight all of those typical tendencies that almost everybody has, that kills their speed, kills their power, kills their accuracy, kills everything in the golf swing. When you're out here, you're cupped, you're open, you got a weak grip, you're swinging down, outside in, over the top, chicken wing. I mean, good luck timing all of that stuff. People say the swing I teach is a timing move, right? Well, sorry, but there's timing in sports. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I was a pitcher in college. You know, it's this. That's the whip. That's the move, right? If I do this a little late, I'm high, ball's coming in high. If I do it early, ball's coming in low. And I mean, we're talking, you know, 60 feet, 6 inches, and trying to hit portions of a 17-inch wide plate, right? So there's timing in sports. I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, you're going to have to relearn your timing when you start swinging from the inside on the downswing and that club face is more closed, you're swinging from the inside. Now, all of a sudden, what's going to happen is this right here. You're just going to go rev the motorcycle. You're going to skip, and you're going to do that. You're going to hit away out to the right. Why is that? Because you don't have any timing of the release yet, because you've always been over the top this way, so you have to hold off that release. Now, when you're coming inside here, when that toe of the club whips past the heel of the club, now you're going to need to exaggerate the release to square up the club face, right? So everybody talks about, I teach this grip and I teach that whipping action. Everybody's like, man, I'd really hook it if I gripped it like that. If I whipped it like that, I'd really hook it. And it's just so, it's one of the most frustrating things to explain over and over. But I mean, and I shouldn't be frustrated with it, but it's truly just, it's one of these hard things to, because it's just so far off. If you hook it when you go to that strong grip, if you hook it when you start trying to whip the toe of the club past the heel of the club, the reason you're hooking it is not because of the strong grip or the whip. The reason you're hooking it is because of all this stuff, right? So yeah, if you add a strong grip to an outside path that's going left of target, sure, you're going to go, oh, now I need to whip it. You know, yeah, you're going to pull it, you're going to hook it. But I guarantee you that if you get this club into this position where you are revved and swinging into out, truly swinging into out, you're going to need all the grip and whip that you can get to square that club face up at impact. Okay? I mean, it's just so, this is so critical to understand here. So people say, if I whip it, if I grip it that way, I'm going to hook it. No, you're not. Okay? And I mean, I shouldn't say no, you're not. Maybe you are, but if you do, it has nothing to do with the grip and whip. Because, I mean, those are the trends on tour. You look at a guy, you look at Brendan Steele, you look at, well, it was Zach Johnson, Paul Azinger, Boo Weekley, you know, Dustin Johnson. I mean, you look at so many of these guys, and Dustin Johnson's a better example of the revving, right? Here's Dustin Johnson at the top of the swing, right? You can play from there. You can't play from here. Nobody's playing from super open and cupped. Guys are playing from square. Guys are playing from super closed. You can't play from where so many players are. Weak grip, hand too far over this way, cupped wrist, toe down open. Good luck with that, right? So we're doing the opposite. We're going rev, whip, skip, right? Rev, whip. No, I said that backwards, didn't I? Rev, skip, whip. And so I think I'm going to create a little, like a little 30-day challenge on this, where I'm going to take you through this stuff into the net. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. If you've made it this far into this video, you're probably the kind of player who really wants to maybe spend some time this winter really working on this stuff and learning the right thing the right way so you can actually be a different player when spring comes around. So I'm thinking about this little 30-day challenge where I would come out here every day, take you guys through little practice protocols, send you an email every day with a new updated little video so that you can go to work practicing this stuff on your own, either at home in your garage, into your net, wherever you have it set up, or just swing a club. Definitely hitting balls is way preferred to just swinging a club because things change when you hit the ball, right? So, and then now it's just a matter of here, rev, skip, whip. And I can't tell you how solid that ball is right there. It starts right here. It's got that little, I can feel that club face is just that little bit close to the path. So it's got that little tight, little solid draw on it. You're not always going to hit it solid from a stopped position right there, but that's a great place to start, right? Is just to start from that stopped position. Now, after you've done that, now you just do it without stopping, but with what feels like a half swing. And now I'm just trying to keep my elbows together, so I'm kind of swinging this triangle back. Hands a little low feeling right here. I'm a little revved feeling right here. Then I'm just skip and whip. Not trying to swing hard or anything. I got all my cheat setups that I was talking about there, but it's just rev. And then I like to see a 1001, 1002. Just hold that finish right there, because that's another thing too. I like to see when you're doing these little practice sessions into the net, this is that little, I call it kind of making sure that you just kind of start from almost this little small little swing right here, rev, skip, whip, and then just hold that finish, 1001, 1002. So that you're always working on this being just a athletic motion where the goal is to get to that finish, right? And the goal is to hold that finish and get to that finish so that you're just making an athletic move that the ball gets in the way of. And this practice into the net is so important because this is where you build that skill. When you get out on the golf course, you want to try to forget about all of this stuff. You really want to get target and tempo focused. That's one of the things that I teach in all my courses, that I take people through these little net protocols that help them build skills. But you also have to now, at the end of a practice session, say I practiced that for a little while, right? So I've gone rev, half, going from stop, rev, skip, whip, right? Rev, skip, whip. Face was late right there. I could feel it. Right? And then it's now without stopping, rev, cheap move setups, setup positioned, rev, skip, whip. Ooh, that was pure. 1001, 1002. Hold that all the way up onto that toe. The goal is always to get to that finish. You don't have a complete golf swing that's going to have maximum amount of speed unless you're constantly working on getting to that finish. And this finish here too, by the way, I mean, it's better is better, right? So if you can't, go more than this right now, and you start getting to more this, that's huge. If you're used to your shoulders being here at the finish, now you're getting to your shoulder square. I mean, the tour players obviously, they're way left with their shoulders at the finish of the swing. And we're always working on getting closer and closer to that, which we're going to get further and further away from being able to actually get closer and closer to that as we get older, right? But that is why this net practice at home is so important, because you can focus on these things because you have the ball flight removed. Because when you go out to the driving range, what does it turn into? Well, it turns into 200 balls, right? 7 different swing thoughts. All this stuff that you're thinking about. And you're not really focused on anything. You're just trying to alter ball flight from one swing to the next, right? And that's not anything that's going to build skill. It's not going to ingrain any habits. Doing something for 3 or 4 times to try to correct your ball flight and then doing something completely different to try to correct it the next time it does something you don't want it to do, that's not going to ingrain any new good habits, right? But that's what everybody's doing at the driving range, and that's why I'm such a big proponent for this skill building at home, doing these kinds of practice sessions. So I think that's it. I mean, just kind of taking you through what a little practice protocol that's really effective, where you start to really build some of those skills. What are those skills that you really need to build and learn? Well, they're getting hands deeper behind you at the top of the swing, club face a little bit more close, swinging from the inside, whipping the toe of the club past the heel of the club. That's it. That's all the golf swing is. I mean, that's the only thing separating you from those good low handicap ball strikers. That's it. I mean, and the fact is that this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and you can learn it, but you're going to get better incrementally, right? And better is better. So don't go, making some change and then going and you get better for a little bit, then you revert back, then things go sideways, and then you go back and you go, oh, I got to find something new. No, you don't. That's not how it works. What you got to do is keep going back to these fundamentals. These are the things. There's nothing else that's holding you back from being a good ball striker. It's just that you have an open club face, you struggle to square the club face at impact, you swing over the top, chicken wing, all of that stuff. Probably don't have very much body rotation, probably stopping the body, flipping the hands, right? Here, hands deeper, a little more closed club face, shallower shaft angle, swinging from the inside, body rotation, whip, finish. What else is there? I mean, that's it. And when you're starting from that position at the top of the swing where you're here, that means you can get down to impact here. You're not going to be doing this when you're trying to get to here. So you're fixing all of that at the same time. You are able to whip it, and you're not working on holding angles or anything like that. You're just starting from a position that allows you to have more of that compressed forward shaft angle, hitting down action at impact as you're whipping the toe past the heel of the club. So let me know in the comments if you're still here. I mean, nice job, seriously. I mean, that means that you are that kind of person who takes this stuff seriously and has the potential to make incredible improvements, like the players who cut their handicap in half through my program. And so comment below if you'd be interested in doing this little 30-day thing. I'm thinking about starting at maybe December 1st and getting it kind of built out so that most of it's ready to go, but then continuing to build it along, because that's something that I really enjoyed doing in the past too with the members, is building these lesson programs in real time where I'm sending out videos right when I shoot them, taking you through these, getting feedback back from people. Then I can kind of address questions and stuff as I continue to build out the course. And that tends to really make for some pretty cool courses. So there you have it. Hit like, hit subscribe, enable alerts, comment below. All those things help this video get out to more people, and that helps me help more people here on YouTube. And if you want to get started with some free lessons, you can go to facefirstgolf.com. Nice job. If you're still here, you're a 1 in probably 10 or something like that. And that is huge. It probably means that you really have the potential to make some huge improvements in your game. And I'd love to help you get there.